Welcome to the next chapter of your RLCraft journey. My name is Wolf, and if you're watching this, chances are you've already braved the chaos of early game survival, you've built some type of shelter, fought off your first group of orcs, and maybe even started exploring and seeing some of the crazy bosses or structures throughout the world. But now, it's time to take things a step further. This guide is tailored for more mid to late game players. Those who've moved past stone tools and leather armor and are ready for more challenging aspects of RLCraft. We're diving into the kind of content that separates survivors from legends. Special armor sets, unique weapons with powerful abilities, legendary gear, mounts, dragons, and the boss variants that guard the most dangerous corners of the world. If this is your first time playing RLCraft, or you're still figuring out how to survive the first few nights, I highly recommend checking out my beginner's guide. It covers everything from proper installation to early progression, and will give you the foundation you need before diving into this more advanced content. If you're ready to push past your limits, unlock the rarest gear, and tame the fiercest creatures, then let's begin. Your legend starts now. As some of you may know, myself and a few others have been tirelessly working on a full in-depth wiki for RLCraft, and I'm happy to say it's finally finished. All of the information covered in this video, and anything else that you can think of, stat values, special abilities, spawn rates, crafting recipes, you name it, it's in there. A link to that will be in the description, so go check that out. Like I said, we're starting out this video with the assumption that you have the basic understanding and knowledge of how RLCraft works. You've started a world, you may have gained a few levels, and you're really starting to get the hang of things. But now there's a ton of new items and crafting recipes that you're learning, and you have no idea what they do, how to use them, or where you even get some of the items. Now, I'm not going to go over all 200 plus items in this video, but I want to highlight some that can be extremely helpful, especially utility items that you can get as you progress through the game. Starting with backpacks. Backpacks come in 3 different sizes, and they can either be found or you can craft one using 8 leather and a chest. The smallest bag allows you to increase your carrying capacity by 27 slots, and the controls to equip and take the backpack off are a bit weird, but honestly I can't really think of anything better to change it to. To put it on, you just need to crouch and interact with the bag. You can tell you've equipped it properly when looking at the limb damage indicator at the top right corner of your screen. The player doll will now have a backpack on. Taking the bag off, on the other hand, is the hard part. You need to press crouch, jump, and punch all at the same time. Yeah, it's weird, I know. Also, make sure you're interacting with your bag while it's on the ground and don't punch it, or else the bag will get destroyed and all of your stuff will just get scattered all over the floor. You can upgrade your bag to a medium backpack by placing it on a crafting table and adding another chest and 7 more leather. This will increase your carrying capacity to 45 slots. You can do this again to fully upgrade to a big backpack. That can hold up to 54 slots. Do make sure that your bag is completely empty when upgrading it, because anything inside will be removed when you fully craft the next tier. Along with the backpack, another utility tool is the canteen. Combine 4 leather and a bucket, and you now have a portable water source. You can hold up to 5 charges, or cups of water, and it never loses durability. The last utility tool I want to highlight is the sleeping bag. To make this, combine 2 more leather and 3 wool of any color. Easily deployable while on the go, this will allow you to skip night cycles and clear any inclement weather while out exploring. However, this will not replace your current spawn point, so keep that in mind. With a solid foundation on the basic knowledge of leveling, you should now also have a few tools to help you go exploring. Speaking of having a good foundation, now is a perfect time to mention the sponsor of today's video. Come with me as I rebuild my entire setup from the ground up. We can't be working with this outdated, boring look. Nothing about this says I'm a professional. But this is the E7 Plus, FlexiSpot's flagship standing desk. And for good reason. Built with a 4-legged design and precision engineering, the E7 Plus evenly distributes weight for rock-solid stability. Crafted from high-strength carbon steel, it supports up to 200 kilograms without shaking or tilting, giving you confidence no matter how much you load it. With adjustable heights and tabletops between 47 and 71 inches long, making it perfect for everything from home offices to conference tables. Now, I've used standing desks before, but this one's different. The 4-leg design gives increased stability, and the dual motors are unmatched in lifting power. Plus, built-in cable management keeps wires tucked away for a clean, professional look. The advanced digital keyboard makes adjustments effortless with up to 4 memory height presets and a built-in USB charging port to keep your devices powered right at your desk. The E7 Plus is built to last. It's even backed by a 10-year warranty. FlexiSpot is having their huge Black Friday sale with 10% off site-wide and additional savings each day through the end of the weekend. So if you want to rejuvenate your space, I'll leave a link down in the description. If you want to see the final setup and the full revamped space, I'll be working on that as a separate video. Thank you to FlexiSpot for sending me this E7 Plus. If you're rebuilding your setup, start with a foundation. Okay, with that out of the way, now is a perfect time to talk about the different types of structures that you may come across. From small dungeons and castles to desert pyramids and revamped jungle temples, there are a ton of new things to encounter. 4 of the biggest and most important structures that you'll want to keep an eye out for are battle towers, castle dungeons, sky spires, and the newly added bronze dungeons. First, the Battle Tower marks a significant turning point in your journey. These towering structures are randomly generated throughout the world and serve as your first real test of structured combat and a boss encounter. Keep an eye out for yellow blocks lining the walls. This will mark the staircase to the next level of the tower. But don't rush. Mob spawners are cleverly tucked into corners and the floor is riddled with gaps. One wrong step could send you plummeting back to the base, or worse, to your death, depending on how high you've climbed. Each tower is about 9 floors high, and you can choose to fight your way up, or you can just kind of rush past all the enemies to reach to the top. But be warned, the higher levels typically spawn more difficult mobs. At the summit of the tower, you'll face one of several possible bosses. These final encounters vary in difficulty and ability, ranging from brute force melee attackers to ranged threats with special effects. But once defeated, the boss will drop valuable loot and a hefty amount of experience, as well as clear the way for you to collect the 4 chests worth of high-tier items at the edge of the arena. Unlike the Java version, the Bedrock Edition does not feature a collapsing tower mechanic after the boss is defeated. Once you clear the top floor and defeat the boss, the loot chest will be available, but the trial spawners throughout the tower will remain active. This means that while the boss and loot are a one-time reward, the tower itself can still be used for farming mobs and experience if you wish to return later. Next, castle dungeons are the most dangerous and expansive structures in RLCraft Bedrock Edition. On the surface, these majestic castles appear to be about the same size as a battle tower, but beneath them lies a sprawling, multi-layered dungeon that stretches in all directions. The layout is a chaotic maze of tunnels, large chambers, and hidden areas, all crawling with mobs from a wide variety of spawners. There are multiple paths to explore, but only one leads to the final boss room, where you'll face similar bosses to the ones you've encountered in battle towers, but now encountered in a far more claustrophobic and unforgiving environment. When a castle dungeon is found, players receive a chat notification letting everyone know the location. There are a few different versions of castles that can be found in different biomes, but for the most part, the layout remains very similar, though the room themes and mob types may vary. Once you have become familiar with the layout and you're looking for a faster route to the best loot, follow this path. Enter the castle and head straight down the spiral staircase. You'll reach the room with 4 hallways. One leads to the flooded tunnels, one leads into a dripstone cave, one leads to the warpstone with the 2 NPCs, and one is blocked by the metal bars. This is your path. Break the bars and enter the large room with a chest and spawners, typically crocodiles or knights. Continue to the next room with the small NPC structure surrounded by more pools of crocodiles. This also has 4 exits. One leads to a maze, one loops back to the flooded tunnels, and one has a chest all the way at the end of the hallway. Take this path. Around the corner is a room guarded by orcs led by a cyclops, plus some spider and bog spawners. Defeat them to access 2 trial chamber chests. Proceed through the hallway to another spiral staircase. Descend into the spider cave, filled with webs, spider and cave spawners, and stalagmite floors. Trick here is to follow the lanterns to the right side of the room. Follow the hall to the other side of the room to the right. Navigate across the dripstone canyon all the way to the left, again following the lanterns. After a little parkour and navigating around the cracks, you should be good to go. Head directly across the next open room to reach the long corridor with more bog spawners, a small camp, and a prep area with crafting stations and another NPC. Here lies the final boss room. Once defeated, you'll find 3 small chests behind the metal bars containing your reward. But you're not finished with castle dungeons just yet. They are packed with secrets and tons of loot to collect, and some of it is more valuable and easily overlooked. From the first staircase, head past the warpstone with the 2 NPCs into the library. Take an immediate right into the hallway with the 2 paintings. The painting on the right hides a secret passage. Inside is a small room with an epic loot chest containing wyvern items and dragon bones, if you're lucky, sometimes even dragon spirits. Another hidden treasure is the trap chest hallway. Just before descending to the second spiral staircase, after the orc and cyclops room, you'll find a trap chest off to the right in a hole in the wall. It is rigged to explode, so dig around the chest to disable the trap and safely collect the reward. It's often filled with high-tier loot. Very easy to miss, especially if you're distracted by the much more obvious chest sitting at the top of the stairs. Final piece of advice for castle dungeons is not to trust any signs that are placed throughout the dungeon. Every single one of them is a trap. Don't trust any shortcuts, don't trust epic loot here, none of it. They all lead to lava pits, explosions, or worse. So stay alert, be careful, and prepare thoroughly. Castle dungeons are not forgiving, and one wrong turn could end your run and make you start all the way back at the beginning. Newly added to the 1.1 update are the bronze dungeons. These are a great place to secure good loot as long as you can make it all the way to the end, because the area that I want to highlight in this video is the boss arena itself. Once the boss is defeated, don't turn tail and just leave. Below your feet, under the grates, is a hidden loot chest. Then hidden below that is a gold block. Honeyfrost likes to reward gremlins. So finally, underneath the gold block is yet another hidden epic loot tier chest. You're welcome. Lastly are the Sky Spires. These are the ultimate dungeon challenge in RLCraft Bedrock Edition. An awe-inspiring structure that towers above the landscape and tests every skill you've developed. Unlike other structures, the Sky Spires are treated as a world event. When one spawns, players receive a chat notification and the tower begins to construct itself layer by layer, rising into the sky like a monument to chaos. Watching its formation is a spectacle in itself. Each Sky Spire is semi-randomized, ensuring that while the overall structure remains consistent, the order and the layout of individual floors can slightly vary. The structure itself consists of 6 massive floors, each one a trial, filled with mobs, traps, and loot. To legitimately progress to the next floor, players must locate the dungeon door key, which is always placed somewhere in the room. It may be resting high on a bookshelf, sitting on the table, above the door that you walked in on a small ledge, hidden out of line of sight just in the middle of the room, or sometimes sitting on top of a trial spawner. Importantly, the key is always accessible without breaking blocks. The best strategy is to just clear the room of all the enemies, gather the loot, find the key, and move upward. If you don't want to follow the proper mechanics, you can just break the frame around the door and continue to the next floor. At the summit of the Sky Spire, players face one of 5 elite bosses. These are far more dangerous than anything you've found in the dungeons or in the battle towers. RLCraft's advanced bosses are some of the toughest encounters you'll face. Amongst the most dangerous are Tullum the Grandmaster, Skellor the Night King, Atorlum the Dwarf King, Kurek the Web Weaver, Orkul the Orc, and the newest addition, the Ancient Titan. Tullum, Skellor, and Atorlum, along with all of the other Sky Spire bosses, enter a second battle phase where they begin summoning minions to overwhelm you. Tullum calls forth spectral archers, Skellor summons waves of knights, and Atorlum brings dwarves in to fight at his side. If you don't deal with these adds quickly, the fight can spiral out of control. Either commit to burning down the boss, or clear the minions before they stack up. I also recommend fire resistance and a shield when fighting these guys. Tullum has multiple flaming attacks, and the shield can help you reduce incoming damage from multiple directions. Kurek the Web Weaver. Kurek opens with a nasty combo, pinning you in spiderwebs and immediately following up with a poison attack. If you don't break free quickly, the fight will end before it even begins. Prioritize escaping the web and then counterattack once you're mobile. Orkul the Orc. This guy wields flaming axes on chains with long reach and devastating melee damage. Stay mobile, avoid getting cornered, and punish openings between his heavy attacks. Again, a shield here will come in handy. Finally, the newest addition, the Ancient Titan. Found deep within the Bronze Dungeons, this is one of the most brutal bosses in Bedrock Edition, simply due to the fact that it deals pure magic damage, which means it bypasses all protection stats. That's why most players are getting obliterated on their first attempts. It uses a devastating laser that cannot be blocked. but instead you need to use the pillars around the arena to block line of sight and dodge. Keep weaving in attacks between dodges and never stay out in the open or exposed for too long, or else you'll get fried. Recently I was put onto the tactic that if you time a crouch the right moment, you can also dodge the laser as it'll fire straight over your head. So this could be an option for you more skilled combat fighters. If you've attempted any of these battles and lost horribly, it's probably because you needed better gear. There are 8 sets of armor and 74 different weapons you can collect, craft, and find in this Bedrock version. Starting with the armor, going from weakest to strongest, the Corsair set. Requiring armor level 12, this pirate set will provide you with 19 defense and a set total of 825 durability. While wearing the full set, you will also gain speed 2 and water breathing. Next is the Ronin set. Now requiring level 25 in armor to wear, this set provides a full 20 defense and slightly over 3000 durability. When wearing the full set, you gain extra limb protection and strength 1. Next is the Dragon Bone set. Another full 20 defense, but now 3,505 durability. Still requiring level 25 to wear, but will provide the wearer extra limb protection, resistance 1, and knockback resistance 1. Now the Dragon Armors. There are 5 in total: brown, black, green, red, and blue. Brown Dragon set bouts similar stats to Dragon Bone, with 20 defense, 4,000 durability, and the same set bonuses, but will require you to reach level 30 in armor in order to use. Dark or Black Dragon sits slightly higher, with again 20 defense, but now almost 5,000 durability. Provides all the same set bonuses plus resistance to darkness, but now requires you to reach level 40. Green, red, and blue sets are all the strongest in the game. They all have the same stats, sitting at 20 defense and 7,000 durability. They all provide extra limb protection, resistance 1, knockback resistance 1, however they each come with a extra bonus per color. Green grants resistance to poison, red, frost resistance, and blue, heat resistance. As for the weapons, regular tiers like wood, stone, iron, gold, copper, diamond, and netherite are all relatively similar. Nothing too special, obviously they just require escalating levels of attack and agility in order to unlock. But there are a bunch of other weapons with crazy abilities, and some are fairly easy to find and craft, while others require a lot more commitment to collect all the pieces. Just like with the armor, let's go over each weapon from lowest level to highest, but I want to preface this by saying that just because something is unlocked at a lower level doesn't mean its special ability is weaker than an item unlocked at a higher level. Take this first weapon for example, the Ground Sword. Its special ability fires a dirt projectile that deals between 4 to 9 damage and causes a slight knockback effect. The cooldown is fairly short, making it easy to spam and keeping bigger targets at bay. It's a fantastic early weapon, and it's only unlocked at level 3. Next is Jambia. This small jagged dagger is the first dagger class weapon outside of the vanilla materials. It's unlocked at attack level 11 and agility level 6. It, as well as the other daggers, have the Fiber Harvest ability, which allows them to collect plant fiber from grass. But I think this one might be bugged at the moment. Next in line is Impulse. This chainsaw-looking weapon has the unique ability to launch the user into the air, similar to the Riptide enchantment, but it doesn't require any water to activate, and it's unlocked at attack level 9. This is the Naginata. It's a fancier version of the Iron Spear, and it's unlocked a whole level prior at attack level 12. They deal about the same amount of damage, the only difference being that this one has slightly less durability. Next is Shadow Rend. Unlocked at attack level 14, it deals only 6 damage, but its special ability allows the user to go invisible for a short time. Evergreen, a bigger and better version of the Ground Sword, unlocked at attack level 15. It launches a larger rock projectile that deals up to 11 damage. This is Current, the first water element weapon. Unlocked at attack level 13, it fires a water projectile dealing 4 to 9 damage, similar to the Dirt Sword. Erythril, unlocked at level 23 and agility level 1, it has a similar ability to Impulse, allowing you to harness a Riptide-like launch, but much higher and much further. Again, no water required. Vigilance, unlocked at attack level 23 and agility level 2, its special ability has you holding to charge swirling air energy. Releasing left click will fire an air burst that deals 4 to 9 damage. The Ice Sword, also unlocked at attack level 23 and agility level 2, this is the first ice elemental weapon and comes with the passive ability that deals increased frost damage. Next are the Bone Sword and the Bone Hatchet. The Bone Sword is unlocked at attack level 21, while the Hatchet requires attack level 26 and agility level 7. Both are fairly easy to obtain early on, especially once you start tackling more challenging structures and bosses. The hatchet deals 9 damage, and being an axe, can also be used to collect wood without taking any damage. The Flame Sword. The first fire elemental weapon, unlocked at attack level 27 and agility level 8. Its special ability fires a projectile that deals impact damage and sets enemies on fire, causing extra damage over time. And yes, its passive ability increases fire damage, and that does stack with the flame aspect enchantment. Once unlocked, it is a fantastic early to mid-game weapon. Glacier, the big brother to the Ice Sword. While technically the Ice Sword isn't a dagger and Glacier isn't a great sword, I kinda look at them that way. Unlocked at attack level 28 and agility level 9, Glacier has Frost Aspect for increased ice damage and 2 special attacks. First is a standard elemental projectile, and the second, activated by crouching, sends out a ring of spikes around you. This makes it great offensively and also gives you a panic button if enemies get in too close. Next is Tide Piercer. Unlocked at attack level 29 and agility level 10, one of the best water elemental weapons in the game. Its special ability, which I've dubbed Tidal Burst, sends out a water shockwave in front of you, initially doing 10 damage, but can continue to deal damage if enemies get trapped inside the whirlpool. Left-clicking while crouched also fires a high-speed water projectile. Now this is where the separation really begins between early and mid-game. The following weapons require materials that are hard to obtain, more difficult to find, or require defeating higher tier enemies like Wyverns. The Elden Sword, the Katana, the Long Sword, and the Hammer Sword. These 4 weapons are unlocked at attack levels 30 through 33 and agility levels 11 through 14. While none of them have any special attacks, they all require netherite in some form and deal a significant amount of base damage, above the standard netherite weapons. Next is the Dragonbone family, which includes the Dragonbone Dagger, Spear, Katana, Warhammer, and Longsword. All are unlocked between attack levels 34 and 38, and agility levels 16 through 19. While each deals significant damage, the only one with a passive ability is the Katana, which is called Dragonbane, which increases damage against Wyverns. First we had the Ground Sword, then Evergreen, and now we have Land Split, the granddaddy of Earth Elemental Swords. Unlocked at attack level 39 and agility level 20, it boasts 22 base damage and has a special ability I've cleverly named Land Split. Left-clicking fractures the earth in front of you, setting up stalagmites and pierces enemies. It's very cool to watch and extremely effective in clearing groups of adds. The next 2 families are the elemental upgrades to the Dragonbone weapons. Each includes the same weapon types: a dagger, a spear, a katana, a warhammer, and a longsword. You'll have the ability to unlock the Ice family first, starting at attack level 40 and agility level 25. All of these weapons have the passive ability Frost Aspect and Dragonbane. The Fire family unlocks at attack level 45 and agility level 32. These are the exact same counterparts to the Ice family, featuring Flame Aspect and Dragonbane. Now I say you have the ability to use these weapons, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to obtain them very easily. These upgrades require a very special and very rare item called Dragon Spirits. There are only 2 types in the game right now: Fire and Ice. To craft one of these upgrade weapons, you'll need to find 3 Fire or 3 Ice Dragon Spirits and infuse them with the Dragonbone weapon. So, where do you find these Dragon Spirits? These elusive items are extremely rare, so let me break off onto a quick tangent and explain how loot works in RLCraft. Honeyfrost, like most studios, separates loot into a bunch of different categories, from trash chests with nothing but junk, all the way up to epic, which contains all the shiny cool stuff. Each category has levels. For example, you might open a chest categorized as trash 3, or good 1, or even epic 5. When hunting for dragon spirits, you are looking for an elemental chest. You've probably found a bunch of these without even realizing it. I tend to find more element chests in higher difficulty structures, battle towers, castle dungeons, etc. I've even found ice chests in frozen ruins. Some players in the community have also reported finding them on pirate ships and in small desert dungeons as well. Here's what you'll see when you find an elemental chest: essences or other elemental type items like fire charges, blaze powder, wind charges, ice blocks, etc. But not only do you need to find an elemental chest, it must be a fire or ice chest. On top of that, you have a 10% chance to find a dragon spirit inside. So, good luck to all you completionists out there. Okay, back to the weapons. Now comes the creme de la creme, the big boys. All of the super overpowered crazy weapons that I know you really want to get your hands on. First is the Meteor Sword, not unlocked until attack level 50 and agility level 31. But man, does this thing pack a punch. I've dubbed it special attack Molten Sky. Holding left click charges the weapon, and releasing it thrusts the blade upward to summon 3 flaming meteors that hurl down from the sky. These deal massive explosion damage on impact and set everything on fire, which causes even more damage over time. Next is Blink. Unlocked at attack level 50 and agility level 34, it has a whopping 36 base damage, and its special ability isn't actually about damage, it's about utility. Left-clicking shoots an ender pearl that teleports the user to that location. Just like throwing a pearl normally, but you actually don't even need any in your inventory. It's unlimited use. Next are Whirlwind and Stormbreak. These two take different aspects of storms and turn them up to 11. Both require attack level 50 and agility level 35 and 36 respectively. Whirlwind, its special ability, which I'm calling Gale Force, creates a massive whirlwind tornado that picks enemies up and tosses them. As the storm intensifies, multiple lightning strikes hit nearby targets and set things on fire. Now, Stormbreak probably has one of the coolest animations of all of the weapons. If it were a hammer, you could easily call yourself Thor. Its special ability, Thunderclap, begins when you left-click. Electricity gathers around you as you rise into the air, and after a full charge, you will slam the sword into the ground and trigger a massive lightning explosion that ignites the battlefield. Huge damage on the initial slam, plus the lightning damage and the fire damage over time. Not to mention, Stormbreak has the passive lightning aspect, which deals increased lightning damage. Perfect synergy for one of the most powerful weapons in the entire pack. Finally, we've reached the Great Swords. These 3 massive claymores not only deal heavy base damage, but each one has a special ability unlike any other weapons that we've covered so far. First is Slayer. Unlocked at level 50 and agility level 32, this is the only weapon with Wither aspect, dealing Wither damage on every attack, and its special ability, Wither Burst, fires actual Wither projectiles instead of the typical elemental shot. Just like the flavor text says, death itself guides this blade. Next is Mirethorn, which is an upgrade to Slayer, combining it with Earth elements. It has a similar unlock requirement, but introduces a new damage type. Wither plus Earth equals Venom, which is what I've named its special ability. Left-clicking slashes forward, throwing a line of toxic spray that lingers like dragon's breath. Targets hit take 10 damage on impact, and then suffer nearly 20 extra ticks of poison damage due to Mirethorn's poison aspect passive. The final upgrade in the Greatsword tree is Hellfire, crafted by combining Mirethorn with fire elements. Requires attack level 50 and agility level 37. With 39 base damage, it's the strongest of the 3, but it's also the hardest to craft. It requires fire dragon spirits. Its special ability, Erupt, is similar to Mirethorn's, but even more devastating. Holding left click charges the weapon, and releasing it flings a line of molten lava nearly 20 blocks forward, dealing 20 impact damage, and anything trapped inside the lava spew slowly melts and burns to death. Lastly, the final 2 melee weapons, and the only legendary rarity weapons in the entire pack, the Spirit Katana and Algaveld. The Spirit Katana has the highest base damage of any weapon with no ability. It cannot be crafted and has an extremely low drop chance when defeating the Dead Shogun, the skeletal samurai looking enemies with the 4 arms. If you have the stats and manage to get this to drop early on, you're going to be set for the entire playthrough. And now, the Master Sword of RLCraft Bedrock Edition, Algaveld. Well, I say Master Sword, but it's more like the Captain Planet Sword.
Let our powers combine. Earth, fire,
Wind, water,
heart.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Unlocked at level 50 and agility level 39, crafted using the strongest elemental weapons in the game, each contributing its own unique ability. The result? A blade with the power of elemental domination. By crouching, you can cycle through the 5 elemental modes. Fire launches a projectile attack inspired by Molten Sky from the Meteor Sword. Water unleashes Tidal Burst, borrowed from Tide Piercer. Air uses Air Burst, the signature move of Vigilance. Earth strikes with Land Split from the Land Split Sword. And Lightning calls down Thunderclap from Stormbreak. Some elements go a step further, granting a passive buff while active. Fire grants fire resistance 2, water gives you conduit power and water breathing, and air gives you jump boost. Not only does Algaveld harness the power of nearly every element, but it also boosts a massive 60 base damage, making it the strongest sword in the entire pack. In addition to melee arms, other categories such as ranged and special weapons expand the arsenal, starting with bows. There are 4 in total, including more additions to the Dragonbone families. But before we get into each one of the bows, I need to explain how RLCraft bows are different. They are still equipped like vanilla counterparts, but appear visually in the offhand. Each bow unleashes a unique and powerful arrow type. Standard arrows are seamlessly transformed into these special variants, requiring no additional crafting. They can be enchanted, but are limited to mending and unbreaking due to the limitations on Bedrock. The first bow being the Root Longbow. Unlocked at agility level 15, it's fairly easy to obtain and craft with some string, gold ingots, and 2 ancient sprouts. While it lacks special abilities, its ease of acquisition and stronger base damage make it a reliable stepping stone into ranged combat before enchanted bows surpass it. The next 3 fall into the same families as the Dragonbone weapons: the base form, the ice form called Frost Snap, and the fire version called Ember Snap. Frost Snap has the same frost aspect passive as the melee weapons, increasing its ice damage, and Ember Snap follows suit with flame aspect, dealing increased fire damage. These are all unlocked at agility level 20, but again require those dragon spirits to upgrade. The special weapons set themselves apart, not only for their abilities, but because they kind of fall into more than one category. First is the special wooden shield that comes with RLCraft. It's unlocked at defense level 15, and you can technically use it as a blunt melee weapon and just hit stuff with it because it does have an attack value of 3. However, the fact that it can't be held in the offhand like the vanilla shield pretty much kills this weapon for me. Next is the magic wand. Unlocked at agility level 10, but can only be obtained as a rare reward from any of the dwarven structures or a guaranteed drop from defeating the ancient titan. Can be used as a melee weapon, but the proper use is to charge it up and then release a magical shot of energy that explodes and summons a lightning bolt at the site of impact. This can deal anywhere from 15 to almost 20 damage per shot. The last and final weapon is the Neptunium Trident. Unlocked at level 15 and agility level 10, it can be crafted with sticks and Neptunium ingots. But what makes it special is its intrinsic loyalty ability. It will always return to the user when thrown, even without having the loyalty enchantment. With all of the gear covered and you now armed to the teeth, it's time to shift the focus to something just as game-changing: mounts. In RLCraft, mobility can be the difference between life and death. There are only 4 actual mobs that you can mount. Some fly, some jump, and some can even swim. Starting with the easiest one to find, the Seahorse. These adorable little guys can be found in almost every type of ocean. They don't require saddle or any taming mechanic in order to ride. They're incredibly fast in water, which is super helpful when trying to avoid the terrifying things that lurk below. Next is the Big Lizard. It's a great early to mid-game mount that can be found mainly in arid biomes like mesas, deserts, and savannas, but also near beaches and in jungles. If you're lucky enough to find one of the desert barns, you can meet an NPC who has a full farm of these things just waiting for you in the stable. All you need is a saddle and some meat, tame one of these things, and you're ready to go. Another is the Ares. I bet 80% of you guys didn't even know this thing existed. It can only be found in high up extreme hill biomes. Again, grab a saddle and feed it any type of meat to tame. The flying mechanics are pretty straightforward. Move forward and look up to ascend, look down to descend. If you happen to come across one of these, keep it. This makes a fantastic early game flying tame. That is, until you find the last one. Of all of the mobs in this pack, none are more iconic or more dangerous. Then wyverns. These flying beasts are formidable enemies, but can also become the best endgame companion. Taming one is a major milestone in your RLCraft journey, and having a wyvern opens the door to aerial dominance and world exploration. But claiming one for yourself is no easy task. Hell, even finding one is a huge challenge in the first place. Lucky for you though, I've done the research and figured out exactly where to go and what to look for when hunting wyverns. Any other video out there that I've seen on where to go or how to find wyverns is wrong. Please don't use those as a reference. Instead, take a seat, listen up, because I'm about to nerd out over this. I've spent hours sorting through the code to decipher where and how wyverns spawn so that you guys don't have to. Let me start by saying that on the wiki, I've created an entire breakdown of wyverns. Their loot tables, their spawn percentages, and everything that you could possibly need or want to know about them, you can find it there. But for now, I'm going to summarize the most important stuff. Wyverns do not spawn like other mobs. They are tethered to a structure, specifically a wyvern nest. There are 5 different versions of this structure, and they are found in different biomes. So if you're looking for a wyvern, your first step is to find a nest. Now you're probably saying to yourself, okay, well this information is nice, but where can I find this wyvern? Or I really want this kind of dragon, where do I find one? Well, the answer is simple. You don't. While there are a few ways to target farm certain wyverns, the majority of them are pure RNG. There are 9 different wyverns in this pack, each with a unique color and elemental association. Fire, earth, water, air, nature, ice, lightning, poison, and dark. Each of these wyverns applies a different damage effect based on its element. Fire applies burn damage, earth and lightning can stun or stagger enemies, water applies weakness, air causes knockback, ice slows and freezes, poison and nature apply poison, obviously, and dark applies the wither debuff. Now, like I said, each wyvern type is loosely tied to a specific biome through their nest structure. And even then, only one type is selected to appear per structure. There are 2 pools or categories that the game separates wyverns into when assigning an entity to a structure as it's rendered in: native and random. Depending on the biome the nest appears in, the game decides which pool to pick from. Neutral biomes, example forests, plains, jungles, they use the random wyvern pool. So there are 7 eligible types, each with a 14.29% chance to spawn. The fire wyvern is included in both the native and the random pools. So it appears in badlands and deserts as its native biome, and neutral biomes, random. Earth and ice wyverns are excluded from the randomization and will only appear in their native biomes. Earth dragons appear in deserts, and ice dragons appear in any frozen biome. Mushroom islands also follow the same random logic as neutral biomes. Earth and ice are excluded from these, but the reason that you find more dragons on mushroom biomes is just due to the naturally low mob spawn rates and the structure densities in these areas, so the wyvern encounter rate is drastically increased. Now that you have a better understanding of where to find them, let's go over wyvern variations. Wyverns also come in 5 different size tiers. I've created this little chart that gives you a rough estimate on the size comparison between the tiers, the variant scale in health, damage output, and movement speed. Unfortunately, there is no way to increase the size of your wyvern. They don't grow over time or anything. There also isn't an item that you can use to make them bigger or smaller. What you see is what you get. But what do you do when you actually find one? Well, first things first, you need to fight it. Don't come unprepared or underleveled. Wyverns are some of the most challenging mobs in RLCraft. They have strong bites as well as ranged breath attacks. They can also fly high into the air to avoid close range combat and are very fast, making bow attacks once they're in the air nearly impossible. But once the wyvern is actually defeated, it will fall to the ground knocked out. You'll then need to walk up to it and open the menu with 2 choices. One option lets you slay the dragon, killing it and collecting its loot. The other option allows you to spare the wyvern, which will have the wyvern rise up as a tamed creature bound to you. Congratulations! From this moment forward, the wyvern is now yours to command. You just need to slap on a saddle and off you go. Flying a wyvern is a little different from the other flying mounts. It's actually very similar to how you fly in creative mode. Hold jump to gain altitude and release jump to slowly float back down. Wyverns can slowly heal themselves during combat through a passive lifesteal ability, but you can also feed them any type of meat to replenish some of their HP if they're damaged in combat. Additionally, you can also equip them with armor, which is purchased from the Dragon Hunter NPC using gold coins and the desired material, either a block of iron, gold, diamond, or netherite. So you've got your gear, you got your Wyvern, and now you're ready to take on the world. But before you charge into battle, there is one more system that you need to understand, and that is the power level system. I did briefly mention this in the beginner's guide, but it becomes much more important as you progress through the game. The system determines how strong enemies are based on your player's power level, which is calculated from the gear you have equipped, including your armor, weapons, and trinkets, as well as your overall stats. As your power level increases, mobs begin to spawn in stronger, more dangerous forms. Between power level 0 to 50, you're pretty safe. But once you pass level 50, mobs have a 5% chance to spawn in orange tier, and all bosses will begin spawning with an orange outline. This tier gives them a 1.5 boost to health and damage. After surpassing level 150, things start to escalate. Normal mobs now have a 7.5% chance to become orange tier, and a 10% chance to spawn as red tier. All bosses now spawn as red tier, which comes with a 2.5% increase to health and damage. Finally, once you reach power level 300, a new tier is introduced, purple. Between levels 300 and 400, normal mobs have a 5% chance to spawn as orange tier, 7.5% chance to spawn as red tier, and a 12.5% chance to spawn as purple tier. All bosses now spawn as purple tier, representing the highest level of difficulty. These enemies have a 5 times increase to health and damage, and they will one-shot you in anything less than dragon armor, so approach with caution. RLCraft doesn't care how prepared you think you are, but now, at least you've got a fighting chance. Let's see how far you make it. But that about wraps up all the really important things that you'll need to know about the endgame. There is still plenty more to discover and learn while you're out in the world of RLCraft, so if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments. And make sure to check out the wiki, it's packed with all the info that'll help you along the way. Also, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor and leave a like. A subscribe would also be appreciated too. We are less than 900 subs away from hitting 10,000. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming and watching, and remember, stay sharp, stay hydrated, and I'll see you all in the next one. Wolf, out!